Hi there, welcome to this month's market update. Today, as always, I'm going to give you an update roundup of what happened in the month of July, talk about how we see the market right now and think about what's ahead through the summer. Before I film this video, I kind of just want to deal with some of the comments that have been coming in recently about how we film these videos. Look, let me put something out there. Yes, I am an estate agent, and yes, it is always better for us if the market, if the property, the world of property is booming, is doing well. But equally, through these videos, I've always tried to give a genuine and honest view, a balanced view of what is happening out there, and we'll continue to do that. Spent lots and lots of time in this industry and I've seen lots of doomsayers talk about how the market's going to fall into oblivion, and I've just never seen that happen. Anyway, let's get on with the video and less of that. Before I do that, of course, as always, hit subscribe and like to the video. Let's talk now, without any further ado, about July, a month where normally the summer market starts to hit. Kids break up from school, people start heading away, look for sunnier climes, which I can well understand why that would be happening at the moment, given all the rain that we've been having. And I don't think that this July was any exception to that. Let's give you some headlines. Number of new properties that came to market, very similar to what we would have expected in years previous, particularly those before that boom period of 2020-21. Number of sales agreed, again, very similar to where they were in those sort of normal markets, a bit lower than where they were last year, but that's nothing at this moment to be too concerned about. But I do want to talk about one big trend that we've seen happening, and it's giving you an indication of exactly where the market is right now. In order to do that, I'm going to put up a couple of graphs, data that's provided from a company called 20EA, who look at the whole of the UK property market, and I can isolate out with what I have to look at our region. So what the graph that you're seeing on the screen is now showing you is the number of new listings across the Leeds and Wakefield markets over the last 3 years. And you'll see that the number of new listings is broadly the same, if not actually a little bit higher in 2023 to that which it would have been previously. The second and more critical graph is showing the number of reductions happening across the whole region currently. You can see the numbers there. Double the number of reductions over what we were seeing in the year before and the year before that. And that gives a very strong idea of exactly just where the market is at right now. Even when we compare this to the numbers of 2018 and 19, we're still reducing more than we were at that point. And that's a critical thing. Prices are falling, prices are correcting. To what extent, I'll come on to in a moment, but this is something really, really critical that's happening. I think from what I can see, unfortunately, some of the time people have been putting their property into the market just too high. They've been looking at, let's say, what next door has sold for. I saw that went for £300,000 or £200,000 a year ago. Let me put mine on at 10 or 15 grand more than that, when in fact, they probably should have even been going a little bit lower. So there's quite a lot of adjustment as people are acknowledging that the top of the market has very much been reached. If we look at the indexes, so at the time of filming this, Nationwide had just brought out their July index. That now shows, I'm just going to read this quickly, that prices are 3.8% lower than they were a year ago. Halifax hadn't released their index. I would suggest it's going to show a very similar trend. The Land Registry is always way, way behind, but even that is now starting to catch up. No change in property prices over the last month. They're showing a small increase over the year, but as the months roll on, that will start to correct. And so now I can give you a live feel as to what we're actually seeing from our own average asking prices that we're agreeing. A lot smaller data set, but by our estimation, we think that prices against what I said last month, 2 to 4% lower, I think we're probably now pushing around about 4 to 6% lower than where we were a year ago. So prices have definitely adjusted and they are correcting. But the big question, of course, is are we going to see these big crashes that people have been talking about? Are we going to see double-digit adjustments happening in the market? And I go back to what I've said in quite a number of my previous videos, that I just don't think the fundamentals that are out there will allow for that to happen. Let's remind ourselves of what they are. I talked about them in the last video. Let me put a link up to that in the corner here. You can always click and have a look at that video from last month. But they are demand. There is a shortage of property to satisfy the population as it is. Population continues to grow. The number of people out there who want to either buy or rent continues to increase. That supply is not increasing. We are not building enough. House builders reported in their recent figures that we're building the lowest rates that we were since the Second World War. We're continuing to miss the government targets for new build, and that will continue to be the case unless that problem corrects itself. Those two things are just going to hold where they are, of course supported by the lenders, and lenders have money. They are willing to lend. Yes, it's at higher rates, and yes, that's going to stretch people's affordabilities, which is why prices will start to come back. But as long as those three things hold true, I still don't believe that we're going to see any of these big doomsayer predictions happening that people have been talking about. Of course, you're going to have to keep in touch with us through these videos to find out if I'm right or if I'm wrong, and I will give a balanced and truthful view of that, as I always try and do. For anybody who's thinking about making a move, currently we're here 7 days a week, 8 AM till 8 PM, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can help you move. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.